Gene Roddenberry believed unjust treatment and biases towards women and minorities, especially those displayed on television, were immoral and highly influential on society. He decided to take a stand against the falsely depicted society on television through his 1966 show Star Trek by having a racially diverse cast, abolishing established stereotypes of the time, and showcasing an ideal society where all races peacefully coexist, ultimately reshaping society's perception of women and minorities. This transformation of the minority archetype led to the election of the United States' first black president in 2008.
In 11 years, in every southern state, the segregation laws we are fighting for today were written, every one of them, by the Ku Klux Klan, which saved the South.
In the 50s, African Americans were inappropriately stereotyped in film, animations, and campaigns. Women were especially stereotyped and were illustrated as people who did not need an education. They typically managed cooking, cleaning, and other household chores. Television shows in the 50s, such as Gunsmoke and Father Knows Best, showcased white men as superior in society.
You're a girl, and a girl has the obligation of being one. Woman's place is in the home, not knocking around with a trance and a couple of chainmen. The plan of life is worked out long ago. The male has his job, and the female has hers. Don't confuse them.
Very few shows have minority characters, however when they did, they weren't portrayed in a positive light, such as Ditzy Females in I Love Lucy, and the stereotypical foolish African American in shows like Amos and Andy.
Because I have a dream.
Liftoff on Apollo 11.
The 60s was a time of the pursuit of equal rights and the search for peace. African Americans wanted social freedom, the banning of segregation, and equal opportunities. As a result of the civil rights movement, African Americans started gaining these rights. Women also tried to overcome major barriers, such as equal pay for equal work. Although our country took 2 steps forward with these movements, the media continued to slander feminist and civil rights ideology, using media as a source of persuasion and aggression against these movements.
But one man took a stand against the established norms of society. He believed that diversity was a wonderful thing, stating that the glory of creation is in its infinite diversity. This man was Gene Roddenberry. He created Star Trek in 1966, which illustrated many of his deeply held beliefs about racism, sexism, and war.
If there is one ideal that the Federation holds most dear, it is that all men, all races can be united.
In the show, he depicted a utopian society where everyone was equal regardless of race, class, and gender. The cast consisted of African Americans, women, Asians, and Caucasians that all had leading and equal roles. Roddenberry stood against the beliefs that many media outlets tried to reinforce upon the people, creating a change which for that time was incredible.
Along with including a diverse cast, Roddenberry also steered away from displaying racial stereotypes in Star Trek. Unlike most people in the 60s, Roddenberry didn't think that people should be categorized into social groups. He felt that this negatively affected those social groups and that individuality was needed for humanity to move forward. Roddenberry stated, if man is to survive, he will have learned to take delight in the essential differences between men and between cultures. He will learn that differences in ideas and attitudes are a delight part of life's exciting variety, not something to fear. We see numerous examples of this in Star Trek, such as when 2 characters of a different race share a kiss, which was seen as taboo and immoral in the 60s, simply because they were different.
Star Trek went against the social norms of the time and gained much attention for its diversity. Other shows took inspiration from Star Trek, and with a new media revolution, the world was beginning to change. After Star Trek ended, people were more tolerant of other cultures and races as well as strong female leads. This reached the news in 1978 with the casting of the first black news anchor, Max Robinson. In the 1980s, Oprah Winfrey launched her influential talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show. As viewership grew, women were no longer stereotyped as delicate housewives, but instead as independent, free-thinking individuals. Oprah grew into a nominated actress, gaining much success and power in the process. She launched Harpo Studios, which helped with the casting of minorities in lead roles. It in turn broke many held stereotypes toward minorities, giving them more work and social advantages. As a result of the media breaking down these stereotypes, society was open to electing their first African American president. This was after the influence of Star Trek, which called for change through television and society.
However, many people like Tom Meltzer have argued that the media does not have a major impact on society, and that Roddenberry's Star Trek is nothing more than a simple science fiction show that could in no way make a lasting impact on society. Tom Meltzer, an advanced preparation author for the Princeton Review firm, states, "The media does not greatly impact public opinion. Television is one of the largest media platforms in the world and the most impactful. If a child were to see a character behave in a certain manner or react to a certain action, they may feel it's susceptible to repeat said action due to their impressionable minds. Some networks have taken notice of these effects and abused them, creating an atmosphere to change people's views towards social issues such as racial discrimination. This is very prominent in the 50s and 60s, which was a stereotyping sexist reality. Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek shattered that reality, creating new paths for future shows to follow, which includes diverse cast, lack of stereotypes, and an illustration of a society which we should attempt to follow."
I accept your nomination.
Some of the organizational issues in setting up.
Now, entertainment consists of main characters that are minorities. Television shows like Blackish and The Fosters all have diverse casts, or minority leads. It is incredible to see how far the media has come since Gene Roddenberry started his journey with Star Trek and took a stand against the biases placed on minorities.
Society has improved greatly since the 50s, and a large part of that success can be attributed to the media. When the media was first on the rise in the early 50s to mid-60s, it was filled with provocative stereotypes and prejudiced mindsets that were harmfully influencing society. Many TV shows followed this mold, adding to the problem. However, in 1966, Gene Roddenberry's cult classic show, Star Trek, had broken that mold and reshaped it for the better.
He managed to spark a kind of entertainment where all minorities were treated with the same dignity and respect as their white male counterparts. He created a revolutionary show that took a stand against the social norms of the 60s, causing many shows to follow, such as The Jeffersons, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Luke Cage, Grey's Anatomy, and The Fosters. Since the rise of diversity in the media, people have been more accepting of all races, ideas, cultures, and genders than ever before. With all these factors, we see that society truly functions better when we are all accepted for being different. Our society mimics many aspects that were seen as impossible then, but are now possible because of one man that decided to look past all spiteful norms against certain races and genders. This one man influenced many people to take a stand with him and rise. This man was Gene Roddenberry.